Little John, with 80 yeomen at his heels, had also gone forth the morning that wait along the roads and bring a rich guest to Sherwood Forest Gale, if such might be his luck, for many with fat purses must travel the roads at this time, when such great doings were going on in Nottinghamshire. But though Little John and so many others were gone, Friar Tuck and 20 or more of stout yeomen were seated or lying around beneath the great tree, and when Robin and the others came, they leaped to their feet to meet him. By my soul, quoth merry King Richard, we had gotten down from this mule and stood looking about him. Thou hast in very truth a fine lot of young men about thee, Robin. Methinkest King Richard himself would be glad of such a bodyguard. These are not all of my fellows, said Robin proudly, for 80 more of them are away on business with my good right-hand man Little John. But as for King Richard, I tell thee, brother, there is not a man of us all but would pour out our blood like water for him. Ye churchmen cannot right understand our king, but ye yeomen love him right loyally for the sake of his brave doings, which are so like on our own. But now Friar Tuck came bustling up. Give ye good den, brothers, said he. I am right glad to welcome some of my clothes in this naughty place. Truly methinkest these rout of outlaws would stand but an ill chance, were it not for the prayers of holy Tuck, who laboured so hard for their well-beings. Here he winked one eye slyly and stuck his tongue into his cheek. Who art thou, mad priest? Said the king in a serious voice, albeit he smiled beneath his cowl. At this Friar Tuck looked all around with a slow gaze. Look ye now, quoth he, never let me hear you say again that I am not patient man. Here is a knave of a friar calleth me a mad priest, and yet I smitten him not. My name is Friar Tuck, fellow, the holy Friar Tuck. There, Tuck, said Robin, thou hast said a no. Pray thee, cease thy talk and bring some wine. These renewed men are atheists, and since they have paid so richly for their score, they must e'en have the best. Friar Tuck bridled at being so checked in his speech. Nevertheless, he went straightway to do Robin's bidding. So presently a great crock was brought, and wine was poured out for all the guests and for Robin Hood. Then Robin held his cup aloft. Stay, cried he, tray in your drinking till I give you a pledge. Here is to good King Richard of great renown, and may all enemies to him be confounded. Then all drank the king's health, even the king himself. Methinkest, good fellow, said he, thou hast drunken to thine own confusion. Never a whit, quoth merry Robin, for I tell thee that we of Sherwood are more loyal to our lord the king than those of thine orders. We would give ye up our lives for its befitting, while ye are content to lie snug in your abbeys and priories, let reign who will. At this the king laughed, quoth he, perhaps King Richard's welfare is more to me than thou wouldest of, fellow. But enough of that matter. We have paid well for our fare, so canst thou not show us some merry entertainment? I have oft heard that ye are wondrous archers. Wilt thou not show us somewhat of your skills? With all my heart, said Robin. We are always pleased to show our guests all the sport that it is to be seen. As Greffer Swanthold saith, 'tis a hard heart that will not give a caged starling of the best, and caged starlings ye are with us. O lads, set up a ground at the end of the glare. Then, as the yeomen ran to their master's bidding, Chuck turned to one of the monk's friars. Heareth thou our master? Quoth he, with a sly wink. Whenever he comes across some poor piece of wit, he straightway layeth it on our shoulders of the graffer Swanhold, whoever he may be, so that the poor good man goeth travelling without all the odds and ends and tucks and racks of our master's brain packed on his back. Thus spake Friar Tuck, but in a low voice, so that Robin could not hear him, for he felt somewhat nettled at Robin's cutting his talk so short. In the meantime, the mark at which they were to shoot was set up the 60 paces distance. It was a garland of leaves and flowers, 2 spans in width, which same was hung up on a stake in front of a broad trunk tree. There, quoth Robin, yon is a fair mark, lads. Each of you shoot their arrows thereat, and if any fellow misses by so much as 1 arrow, he shall have a buffet of Will Scarlet's fist. Hearken to him, quoth Friar Tuck. Why, master, thou doest bestow buffets from thy strapping nephew, as though they were love taps from some bouncing lass. I warran thou art safe to hit the garland thyself, although wildest not be so free of his coughing. First David of Dorchester shot, and lodged all 3 of his arrows within the garland. Well done, David, cried Robin, thou hast saved thine ears from a warming this day. Next Mitchell the miller shot, and he also lodged his arrows in the garland. Then followed Wat and the tinker, but alas for him, for one of his staffs missed the mark by the breadth of 2 fingers. Come hither, fellow, said Will Scarlet in his soft, gentle voice. I owe thee somewhat that I would pay forthwith. Then Wat the tinker came forward and stood in front of Will Scarlet, screwing his face and shutting his eyes tightly, as though he already felt his ears ringing with the buffet. Will Scarlet rolled up his sleeves, and standing on tiptoes to give the great swing to his arm, he struck with a might and main. Woof! Came his palm against the tinker's head, and down went stout Wat to the grass, heels over head, as the wooden image of the friar goes down when the skilful player throws a cudgel at it. Then, as the tinker sat up upon the grass, rubbing his ears and winking his and blinking at the bright stars that danced before his eyes, the yeoman roared with mirth till the forest rang. As for King Richard, he laughed till his tears ran down his cheeks. Thus the band shot each in turns, some getting off scot-free, and some winning a buffet that always sent them to the grass. And now, last of all, Robin took his place, and all was hushed as he shot. The first staff he shot split a piece from the stake of which the garland was hung. The second lodged within an inch of the other. By my holy dome, said King Richard to himself, I would give £1,000 for this fellow to be one of my guard. And now for the third time Robin shot, but alas for him! The arrow was ill feathered, and wearing to one side, it smoothed an inch outside the garland. At this a great roar went up, those of the yeomen who sat upon the grass rolling over and over, shouting with laughter, for never before had they seen their master so miss his mark. But Robin flung his bow upon the ground with vexation. Now out upon it, cried he. That staff had an ill feather to it, for it fell it as it left my fingers. Give me a clean arrow, and I will engage to split the wand with it. At these words, the yeoman laughed louder than ever. Nay, good uncle, said Will Scarlet in his soft, sweet voice, thou hast had thy fair chance, and hast missed thine aim out and out. I swear the arrow was as good as any that hath been loosened this day. Come hither, I owe thee somewhat, and would fain pay it. Good master, roared Friar Tuck, and go, may my blessing go with thee. Thou hast bestowed those love taps of Will Scarlet with great freedom. It were pity, and thou gottest not thine own share.